who are who are the senior citizens who can benefit from this?
Yeah, senior citizen, if you call it, then if I have to quote the provisions also, Section 2 of the 2007 Act, especially the subclause H speaks about the senior citizen. Senior citizen, it means it's an inclusive provision that any person being a citizen of India who has attained the age of 60. Very limited definition, any person with a 60 years of age, and he should be a citizen, he or she should be the citizen of this country.
So is a senior citizen who will benefit from this act or who can use this provisions here?
Exactly.
And is this right to maintenance, is it restricted or limited only to parents, or does it go beyond that?
No, it's actually basically the maintenance postulates for both the parents also and the senior citizens also. So it is an encompassing provision. Anyone, non-citizen also, if he becomes parent, non-citizen is not a country's citizen, right? He or she also will be the subject of benefit of this act. And of course, the restrictive provision is the senior citizen provision, who should be the citizen of this country and also 60 years of age. Parents may be of any age.
Even if he's not residing in India, is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Even a non-citizen also. Non-citizen means NRI.
So we have on the one side the beneficiary, that is the beneficiaries are senior citizens or parents who are senior citizens. What about those who have to give this maintenance or who are saddled with the responsibility for this? Who can be the person from whom the demand can be made?
In that, there are very specific provision under the section 2 again, the definition clause of children and relative. There are two kinds of postulates again, that who should be liable to this act to better maintain their own parents and the senior citizen. That is, one is the children and another is the relative. Now, children is also defined in 2A, that is definition clause. And I'll shorten my saying so that is generally speaking, this is son, daughter, grandson, granddaughter, etc. And the relative means anyone who has a legal heir, in a simpliciter kind of thing, who has a claim to the property of the person who is actually seeking the benefit of the 2007 Act.
So the person who has to give need not be only the child, but may also be a relative. In the absence of children, may also be a relative who is entitled to inherit the property of the senior. Is that what? Yeah. So, what if the senior citizen does not have any property, which will pass to the heirs, so to say, the relative or the heirs? Will they be entitled to maintenance or not?
Yeah. Then you have to go back to this argument that Article 14 and 46 of the Directive Principle of State Policy, where the state means the government of state, also the state, and the government of India in general, that they are under obligation to provide them all kinds of security, health security, food security. Food security is under the NFS Act, National Food Security Act, and all other benefits like right to health, right to education, and all other things, even if they do not hold any property in this country or any other country.
And what about now if we come to the main thing, what is meant by maintenance? What would you include in maintenance?
Maintenance as of now is very restrictive clauses. That is basically is that roti, kapda or makan. That is your food, clothing, and residence. And another thing that extended is this medical attendance and treatment, that they are entitled to a free treatment under the government hospital, not under the private hospital of their choice.
And what is the procedure for applying? Do you have to apply for the maintenance, or what is the procedure for getting maintenance?
That specific provision is already enacted in the 2007 Act itself. That is section 5. That one has to make the formal application to the maintenance officer. That is called the tribunal, basically, maintenance tribunal. In that, application has to be made, and by the person, the senior citizen himself or the parent himself, they can make for their own benefit of this act. And or it can be made by the any organization also.
Oh, so, for example, IFUA is the Indian Federation of University Women's Association. It is a registered body. So on behalf of some lady who may not be a member of that, can the IFUA file a application on behalf
Yes.
of the parent or whoever?
Provided that organization or that non-governmental organization should be registered under the Society Registration Act before
Yes.
the registrar of society.
Before being entitled to, for being entitled to file the application on
Yeah.
behalf of an applicant.
That particularly indignant person.
Now, is there any maximum amount that the law lays down for getting maintenance, like 5,000, 10,000, anything like that? Is there a maximum limit?
Yeah, in present act, it is maximum is 10,000 only.
Presently?
Presently, which is also under the subject of the great debate of the new bill of 2019. They're trying to hike this beyond 10,000.
Beyond 10,000.
Yes.
And supposing an order is already made under the act, is there a way of enforcing that? Because you never, once the order is made, unless it is enforceable, there is no point. So is
Yeah,
it
that's-
enforceable, and how?
Enforceable means it has to be enforceable. Of course, rather it has got no meaning or sanctity at all. And section 11 specifically speaks out of the how that enforcement ability would be there, and how the particular provision of the criminal procedure code is also inserted into it, that at the time of after passing of that order for the purpose of execution, that maintenance tribunal can can take the benefit of the criminal procedure code so that it can be enforced at bar.
So in effect, it would be an offense if the money is not paid after an order is passed. Is that what you say?
Exactly.
So now you just said that an association can also file an application on behalf of an applicant. Can a lawyer represent the applicant?
No, there is a specific bar. No lawyer or legal practitioner. He cannot be an advocate first of all, but non-advocate can.
Then non-advocate can, but
Non-advocate can.
not a practicing advocate.
No, absolutely. That is a
Or
clear bar.
non-practicing, whatever.
It is a clear bar in the provision itself that he cannot represent any of the cause. Any of the cause.
Look, what provisions have been made for the seniors who are not able to support themselves and they don't have any children? So how does it go about this?
Yeah, actually, under the 2007 Act, the rules have been made pan India by the each state, and that under that rules they have made a provision and the policy in terms of their own state policies also. They will provide all the shelters, foods, what we call it that old age home, and it should be a reasonably providing the all shelters and all the reasonable support service.
For in effect, what you are saying is for the benefit of the seniors, if they do not have children, then the state government would be responsible to look after them.
Exactly.
And a typical case where a senior citizen has some property, but as we all know that children either they just put pressure on their kids, on their parents, that give us the property or sell the property and give us money, we need it for business purpose, whatever. And if such a property is taken away from the parent, ensuring that we will look after you, and then they fail to do that, what happens then? Property is already given over. Is it still valid?
Now the controversy starts now here. The moment the property is transferred on a bona fide belief that my ward, the senior citizens or parents, who is a senior in age, will be protected by their wards, their own daughters or son, and transfer deed is made. And subsequently, of course, there is a issue, that is what this act will be providing. In that case, the transfer deed, one couple of high courts says that whatever has been provision has been made, no issue. It has to come back to the senior.
It will go back to the
Yeah,
parent.
exactly. But
It-
in the Kerala High Court, recently the judgment has been passed that no, it has to be specifically provided in the transfer deed itself. So due to this situation of conflicting views by the different high courts, the Supreme Court has recently, very recently, I think it is in 30th January or 13th January, they have issued notice in this.
Mhm.
Yeah. So they want to examine this provision. What happens if there is no particular covenant is made in the transfer deed, then whether still the senior citizen or the parents are still protected, even if there is no provision in it.
What's your personal opinion regarding this? I'm sure you have an opinion that parent has given away his property. The child doesn't look after them, but the transfer deed does not have any such provisions that I'm giving this to you, because you have promised to look after me. There is no such thing in the deed itself. What is your personal view on that?
Actually, if we very strictly speaking, if we go by section 23 of the provisions, right, it specifically protects the senior citizen. But if we go by the traditional law of contract, the moment transfer deed is made, right, one school of law says that no, we'll follow what is the covenant made in the provisions on the transfer deed. So as I already said, that there is a controversy, conflicting views by the different high court. That's why Supreme Court has taken, the three judges bench led by Justice Kaul has taken view of it, and it is in pendency list now.
That
It has
it
to be
is,
decided.
or it is it. Have you dealt with any of these provisions or been
In this
contacted?
section
Basically,
20
I know you cannot appear, so you would not appear for anyone on this count.
no, but
People can consult. There's no bar against consultation with a lawyer.
yes,
So have you been involved in such a way at any time?
that's what in my intro you only said that I have a pro bono pre-litigation services also. So one can, like you, me, everyone can give that kind of pre-litigation support services. So that way we do.
Is there any interesting judgment under this act which you are aware of and which you would like to?
Well, that's what
discuss?
I will quote. In fact, there are 3-4 judgments that I need to quote. I'll just see. It is there only. I have printed out. In fact, in the Supreme Court also, with all respect to the institution, there is a little playground that we can play in this. On 15/12/2020, the three judges bench led by Justice Chandrachud, it says that the tribunal, the maintenance tribunal, has to certify, or rather had to adjudicate on a summary trial basis the ownership thing, whether the senior citizen or the parents has owned that property as a part of his or her ancestral property, or it is his or her self-acquired property, right? So that is why there's a gray area, and perhaps that needs to be again relooked by the Honorable Supreme Court only. And I think for that reason only, subsequently this 8 January 21 notice has been issued by different other bench, but that is also 3 judges bench of the Supreme Court.
Any other judgment which you are aware of?
There are a lot, and then another issue is very, effective. For that matter, I'll say, since I'm not saying that I'm in Delhi. I always vouch for Delhi High Court for its liberal views, for our openness. In this eviction case, it specifically says that even if there is no ill treatment by the wards, that is sons and daughters, right? Still, the senior citizen, as long as he or she has the free will, she or she can take back that transfer deed due to XYZ reason.
Meaning it would become invalid. The transfer deed would become invalid.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would imagine there only a lawyer can do it. So lawyer would have to file a civil litigation declaring that declaratory suit for
Exactly.
declaring that it is not valid.
Exactly. Exactly. Exactly.
Uh,
But
so-
fact remains that ownership of house is always there, right? Whether it is an exclusive or shared. But the now problem is another one. Inside the premises, four walls, there are two entities. One side we have the parents, another side we have the daughter-in-law, right? Now we have an act of 2005 clearly giving the Domestic Violence Act things that where the daughter-in-law has the right of residence. Now, the another conflict of interest is the 2007 Act, which gives specific right to the senior citizen and the parent. Now, that's again, it is a gray area, as I said. So slowly,
Yes.
slowly things are evolving. Perhaps it will be resolved very soon with some modification or amendment.
Would you like to, there is a bill for amending the Act of 2007, which bill was is in 2009.
Yeah.
What is proposed in this bill?
Actually, the
The
scope
main, the what are the salient features which seek
There
to
are a lot
amend
of-
the older?
yeah, there are a lot of them. One, the definition we saw that only sons, grandsons, daughter, and granddaughter. Now, in the proposed bill, they have said even if it is there, the children has been expanded to include biological and adopted son. It is not directly the
Very interesting.
hierarchical wise, right?
Very
And then
interesting.
sons, daughters, stepchildren, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, grandson, granddaughter, and a legal guardian of minor children also. So it is
So,
quite, and this is a larger ramification if it is coming into the act.
so,
One is the children side and
yes.
parent side also. Let us
So
discuss this
when
too, because lot of,
when the daughter-in-law is also included, son-in-law is also included.
yes,
Is
exactly.
a children comes under the definition of children, son-in-law, daughter-in-law.
Yeah,
So once the bill is through, they will also be responsible for maintaining the parents.
exactly. There is a
Uh,
logic behind it. There is a logic behind it. In the same house, daughter-in-law asks for her right of residence under 2005 Act. You know that, every one of us know that, right? So why not she should have a corresponding duty also? Right
Yes.
is there, there might be some duty also. So that is why perhaps that is the reason that 2019, this is in the very wide range of children has been undertaken.
Ranjita, can we have some questions? I don't see any questions in the chat box. This is basically, we have covered the entire act in a jiffy. So now we can, if we have some questions, it will be more.
I have
interesting.
a, this is Purobi here, Advocate Mujumdar, good evening.
Yeah, we had a talk. We had a talk on. Yeah.
Yes, so
Purobi.
I feel that we should have a little more elaborate discussion on the domestic violence front, because in the pandemic, when everybody is cooped up in the house within the four walls, the chances of aggression are much higher with the son or the
Parent-in-law.
daughter-in-law, with
Yeah.
the parent, who
Mm.
are of course aging and emotionally and physically may not have the wherewithal to take care of that kind of aggression. So if we can throw some light on the legal obligations of the child on the parent, not only in terms of property or in terms of financial implications, but also in terms of physical retribution and physical physical, what should I say, the physical safety that the legality allows them. Can we have some discussion on that? Because that is a very palpable problem.
Yeah, especially in last 1.5 years, that was an issue basically.
Not
And-
only in North, it's everywhere. It's
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yes, that is true. But in that case also, since the law has not changed so far, right? And as of now, you as a daughter-in-law has a lot of protection under 2005, sweeping protection, not only under 2005 Domestic Violence Act. She, the daughter-in-law, as a daughter-in-law, she has the protection under the Criminal Procedure Code, the right of maintenance, and also the if the daughter-in-law is a Hindu, she has the right under the Hindu Maintenance Act, right? So that way, if you see, there is a disparity. Please do not mind otherwise, right? There is a disparity. The daughter-in-law enjoys three kinds of rights. However, the senior citizen who is also a parent in the same house enjoys only the 2007 Act. But I'm not into the controversy. But it
And
is
also one, and
like,
also 125 CRPC.
no,
Parent.
125 CRPC. Yeah, that is true. That is
And
true.
I just
So-
want to ask you that not only in the pandemic, but there are sometimes severe emotional violence that takes place. What is to be done in those situations?
Actually, ma'am, the problem of our country is we only trust and follow the written provision, right? Similarly, the evidence as such, we do not follow the tort. Tort means the civil wrong. The tort is very niche area. Actually, it is a gray area more than that, if I say that, where research and the court's view is also very limited. So let it come up in an appropriate time and appropriate cases. Perhaps that will also be a part of the evidence, even if the emotional evidence also will be regarded as a constructive evidence in the days to come. That is why if we see the 2019's amendment bill, that is encompassing thing. It has a wide range of things.
Wide range.
Yeah, very, very wide range. See, I have given only one instance of children. If you go by parent, right, it includes now biological and adoptive father also is a parent. Right, there are a lot of things. If because it is not a law class that I should tell all this legal profession, it will be a then. I mean, is a
No, but what happens is, Advocate Mojumdar, if people know that they have certain legal rights which are applicable in the court of law, then they feel far more strengthened in their ability to counter those situations. Otherwise, they feel helpless. They don't know where to go.
no.
That is one of the reasons why Ranjanati wanted this program, so that people, we strengthen their hand and we say that there are possibilities of your looking forward towards legal obligation, as well as going to police and taking, cognizance of the whole situation.
No, actually, I understand Purvi. The problem is this. In our country, we have only one number everyone knows, that is dial 100, right? But dial 100 will not help anything because it is the civil wrong. Within premises, there may not be a physical wrong, but there is always a emotional wrong. That emotional wrong, you need to present it before an appropriate court or appropriate the protection officer I am saying, under the Domestic Violence Act. So it will be resolved in the form of damages suit tomorrow.
But
Right.
is it a cognizable offense? Verbal abuse, is it a cognizable offense?
Of course, if it amounts an offense at all, you have to protect it, project it such a way that it is hurting your basically liberty.
That is what you have to tell the people as to how to, sort of get to the point of bringing it to a cognizable offense, so
Yeah.
that it can be registered at the police station as a cognizable offense,
Yes.
which can then be taken to court, and it can be, then you can have a warrant also. So, how to build the
This is-
steps
think,
and how to take it forward is, I think, would be very useful to people.
No, I think I just want you to discuss this. How will a victim prove that she or he, the senior citizen, has been mentally or emotionally or verbally been abused? Because you see, all actions will take on the proven matter. How do we do that? I am suffering because of I'm a senior citizen. I am depending on my children. They are abusing me. How do I prove that in the court of law to
Yeah.
get justice?
That's right. Then in that case, I mean, you may not find any direct evidence in your support. What is the four corners of your wall, right? So in that case, still the fact is always the best evidence. What we know in our from the legal school, law school. Fact, more than facts, there cannot be any other evidence. So you need to put down the facts in a chronology so that it becomes a cognizable fact for any code, either it's a criminal code or the civil code, or before any maintenance officer or any other body.
Actually, I think Purvi asked some question which is not relating to this topic. We are here dealing with maintenance and welfare.
No,
So we are only
we are dealing with legal obligations of senior citizens and parents. Legal
No, no, no.
obligations.
That is true, but then that would be under another umbrella. When we're talking about, emotional or, this, that, only when
I
they
am not
snatch away
talking about
something,
emotional. I'm not talking about emotional. I am talking about
verbal abuse.
I am talking about the entire episode being converted into a legal format. How do you convert it into a legal format? By converting it into a cognizable offense.
Like
Only then, if you
yeah.
make it a cognizable offense, only then will the
It
police
will be
listen to you.
registered.
Otherwise, nobody will listen to you. That is something which is very important to remember. What will the court understand?
Like I said, I mean, we are not all notionally prepared to deal with this situation, at least in this webinar today. But yes, there cannot be any evidence more and more powerful than the facts that you can allege or complaint of. So
No,
that
but then this, I think what Purvi is saying is, then that's totally a different thing where one would have to file a complaint with the police, not with the tribunal under the Maintenance Act. It would be a very different thing. Somebody is verbally abusing you, or somebody harassing you at home, or even beating. I know of grandchildren and children who beat their parents physically. And there was a lady who came to me, asked me, what can I do? He beats me. He means the grandson of the lady. So she asked me, can I file a complaint? I said, certainly you can file a complaint. There is no doubt about that. Police complaint can be filed and the police will haul him up. After a few minutes, what the reaction that I get is, will they beat him if I file a complaint? They will, of course, beat him. They will give him a thrashing, but it will be enough to deter him the next time. So, these are things where there is also an emotional angle, but if you are a little more assertive and bold, I think you have to file a police complaint. There's no other thing that you can do for verbal and physical beating.
yeah, like I said, there is no point that we should always we should use the trump card as a first card, right? There is a provision in the civil side also, the SDM, DM of the particular district. They are also
Yes.
responsible to
They
maintain
are-
the law and order.
They
A part
also
of it.
they
Yeah.
also have a power.
Yeah, they are also having the power to maintain the general law, general order, right? So perhaps that also can be used. But we have a very easy access of dial 100 and we go. That is why we are giving the police forces as a bigger thing than any other thing, because our civic authority is, less in their action, visible action.
Also, I think everybody knows that now, as you kept saying, dial 100. Now for the elder helpline,
Yeah,
it is
that's-
dial 14567.
yes.
So, I think the governments, whoever is at the top, they're trying their best to help senior citizens on the one side and juveniles on the other side, because there is a special act even for juvenile justice act.
Yeah.
And then there is also this act. So depending on what are the circumstances and what is the problem, the relevant act is what you can tap.
Why I brought this up, Rashmi ji, I'll just take a minute. In my own career, I don't know how much Merlin will agree with me, but in my career, having worked with NGOs where women have been associated, the fact that the older women especially and the younger women, they're always at loggerheads. And at times when there is a physical, kind of a
Reaction.
face off, and it is normally the daughter-in-law who gets the sympathy from the police than the senior citizens. Normally, unless the lady is very aggressive. Now, I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong. I'm only saying that the reason I feel that we should, since we are so fortunate to have this discussion, if we can just, sort of talk about the areas which strengthen a senior woman or a man to know what are his rights, legal rights, would make a lot of difference. Then the person can go and read the act and then, sort of take it forward. But
We have to be knowledgeable about this.
yeah, just to get that knowledge is very important.
May I just interrupt now, Advocate Majumdar? That is there a bill where a daughter who's the only child of her parents, but who's not a working woman, is obliged to maintain her parents through the support of her husband and her in-laws? Is there any such a bill passed?
Yeah,
in the-
it is there. No bill, what the 2019 bill is there, which he passed, that will encompass, that will embrace many kinds of things, including that query that you are making now. Even if he or she is unemployed, but he or she being the daughter or the son or the daughter, is under the obligation to maintain the parents.
No, specifically for the daughter who lives with her in-laws in a joint family. See, normally in a traditional household, the daughter, once she comes away from her parental house, cannot go back to take care of her parents by any monetary support. It's not looked upon
Acceptable.
favorably.
Yeah.
So, has there been a kind of a legal pressure put on the in-laws that she is the only child of her parents and she is obliged to take care, and she has to be given some money for their support and maintenance?
Ma'am, with all respect, perhaps that is the very gray area our legislature has not worked into it so far. But if the daughter in the in-laws house can influence by some way or other to help them, or otherwise we have that senior citizen protection, you take the benefit in different other way. That way possible. If not directly, then things can be done indirectly also. Possible even if she is not employed.
As such, it is the duty of a daughter, married or unmarried,
Yeah.
to take care of her parents if they do not have sufficient means to look after themselves.
Yeah.
That is the mandate.
But
Now,
Rashmi,
if she cannot do it because of the pressure from her in-laws.
Rashmi, I have asked a question in the
I
chat
have a
box.
question.
Yes,
One minute.
I'm coming to it.
My point- Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Can I? I just
Yes,
want to
yes, please.
ask, if a married daughter is not permitted to look after her parents, then what is the law saying?
That's
Supposing
exactly what I
want-
asked. What
Mm.
happens?
Yes.
Look after.
It's a similar question, actually, similar query.
The same
That-
thing, yes.
Yeah, that's as I said. She can only, vouch or lobbying for the taking the benefit. Benefit is already there in the 2007 Act, right? She should lobby to either in her own parent, in-laws house, or through the means of law to support her own parents.
Ms. Majumdar, I have one question from Maithili Sundar.
Yes.
She asks, have you come across senior citizens who exaggerated what they think are grievances? And sometimes they become very demanding and expect the impossible. So have you come across situation?
No.
It happens. In a one-to-one meeting, you find a lot of facts in the form of allegation that comes out. It happens, madam. There are a couple of times it happens. The senior citizens tend to say something that, yes, I'm the boss. What I am saying is the fact.
No. I think her stress is on the senior citizen who may not be going through anything, but exaggerates it, or there might be some little thing which is blown out of proportion. But I think you, as a lawyer, and even we have come across cases not only under this act but under any act, which is principally, these are all social and beneficial legislation.
Yeah.
This act, the Motor Vehicles Act, or the provisions under the criminal. These are all, you know, they're all called social and beneficial legislations or social and beneficial provisions in some existing legislation.
Yeah, yeah.
So, you know, whenever the law goes over to one side, like the females, the law is always in favor of females, that, you know, they do not benefit by it much is because of certain other circumstances. But the law wants to protect the woman. But there are also cases where, as she says, that the senior citizens. So this act, particularly this act, is for the benefit of the seniors. But sometimes if they would exaggerate it, this is a normal thing which happens all the time, not only in seniors, but also in other acts which are beneficial. You want to exaggerate it and, you know, get the best out of it. So it happens, yes.
Yes.
But again, depending on the skill of the lawyer and depending on the circumstances, if you are able to show that this is mere exaggeration, you could go through. I mean, I think I would say that
Suman has raised her
really
hand.
you
That's
do not
the
have
thing.
all the facts.
Suman has raised her hand.
You will have to unmute her, no?
Yes. Can I,
Yes, please. Yes, please.
sir?
Sumanji.
Sir, I would like to, divert from here. Provisions in the law are there. We accept that. There are many laws in our country which are protecting the senior citizens.
Yeah.
But how about, the senior citizen who is already under, pressure, and how can they don't have the means to, do that also? That how will they go to the court, fight out, bear the expenditure, and during that time, in the process, what will be their survival means?
No, that is what there is a provision also, as I think I have mentioned.
Yes.
There's a clear provision, even if he or she, as a parent or the senior citizen, is a pauper, doesn't hold any property in this country at all, still he or she would be entitled to get every kind of legal protection under the state laws. And number one. Number two, the maintenance, again you come back to the same maintenance side. He or she would be entitled to food, shelter, healthcare, etc.
But sir, this is there theoretically, but we have found out so many cases that these are not, abided by. So there is how are we to get implemented those things?
Ma'am, with all respect, the problem with all of us is that we only understand the law as an academic angle, right?
Yeah.
Do we, all of us, know that there's a act called National Food Security Act?
Yes.
In that act, everyone is entitled.
Yes.
Every lactating mother is entitled for a certain kind of ration and all that, including the highest earner of this country and the lowest earner of this country. I'm not
Just-
naming anyone. Now,
Yes.
this is the ambit. Many of us, we do not know the legal provision. We
Yeah,
only see the problem and academic angle. That is the issue.
There are so many
But there
things.
are provisions under the law, including NFS Act, and also in this present act, which we are deliberating upon. The protection of
I think Sumanji was more concerned with person being affected, the senior citizen being affected and not being able to afford the cost. Sumanji, that is why the law has enacted that lawyers are not allowed to appear on behalf of the parent. The reason is the fees and all that stuff. Also, that whenever a lawyer comes there, things get protracted. So that is why they said that no, lawyers will not be allowed to appear. Why? Because then it is more or less like a mediation process.
Yeah.
It's more or less like a mediation process, which would not involve a lot of expenses.
But if lawyer is not there, then who will fight on their behalf? And then I'm
I
asking,
think
and the
we
basic
we
question
already
is,
answered that.
during that time, it is very difficult for them to, survive. And there are so many cases, people have been thrown out of their homes, even if they have property and all, but they have been thrown out of those homes and they have suffered. And our legal process itself is so delayed and denied to people. I'm not, I don't want to tell even my case because I have my support system, everything. I tell you, sir, our case is under reserved judgment. I am retired for 10 years now. And we had filed a case. We have won twice in High Court. Again, the appeal was made in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court on the 25th of November last, 2020, they have said reserved judgment, and the judgment has not come so far.
My lord,
If-
please instruct your advocate to move appropriate application so that it can come up before.
They are
the
doing
state judge.
everything they are doing, and nothing is coming. Okay, I'm having, people are having, and so many people have died during that process.
Yes,
So
That's-
many people have died.
that's.
Incidentally, Sumanji is also from Delhi. Advocate Mojumdar is also from.
Acha.
Yeah,
And first thing, people don't like to go against their, children, or one thing, they will not like to. Secondly, even if they go, they will need a good lawyer, which is very expensive. And then the justice also is denied. It is absolutely 10 years that I'm waiting for. So many people are waiting for justice.
ma'am, with all respect and on a lighter note, I'm a good lawyer, but not an expensive lawyer.
So I'll come. We'll ask for your number and we will say why justice is being denied to us.
There's
I think-
there is, see,
I
after
think,
the light, after the sunlight for almost 7-8 hours of a day, remaining almost majority of the time of the day is dark also. We accept it naturally. We also accept it here. Population is how much? 135 crore in this country, plus added 10 crores every time from the neighborhood countries. Now imagine how a system can run with a limited kind of infrastructure.
But this was
That's
not
the-
a difficult case. Actually, the judgment had already been done twice. And even then, it is being delayed.
Like I said, in a social forum, you may instruct your counsel again to move. There are n number of process to get it on board for all these purposes. There are n number of mentioning appropriate application, then again mentioning before the particular chief court also. There are couple of processes. My lord, it can-
Fortunately, we have a lawyer among us and he's doing the, taking the initiative. Otherwise, we would not have been here because we don't know anything. We couldn't have fight,
No,
actually.
But I'm not as fortunate as you are.
One of them is a lawyer. He's doing it sincerely, but he is also not. He has written to the CJI. He has written to the PM. He has written to every possible person.
Ma'am, it doesn't help, ma'am. It doesn't
Huh.
help writing down to the honorable court. It doesn't help. You have to go by the legal provision. That is the statutory
But
provision.
tell me, what is the process? Okay, how
Correct.
much time does it take the judgment to take when it is reserved?
Ma'am, then if you want my specific advice, then I have to read and understand your case.
Exactly.
But it is a
Hmm.
social
Correct.
forum. I cannot say
Correct.
give you advice like this.
Yes.
And time
personal
is
thing.
something which nobody can guess. Nobody.
We understand.
People to ask when they come for the first time for advice, they say, "Kitna lamba chalega? Kitna time mein justice milega?" We cannot say because it is dependent upon so many different factors. You really cannot say how long it's going to take, but yes, it will normally take long because, as Mr. Majumdar said, what is the population and what is the per judge field that he has
Yeah.
to look after per judge. One judge has to take care of how many things. So it has to also be physically possible. It's not every time it's not possible also, but sometimes yes, we know of times where they shirk their responsibility or they want to delay the matters for various reasons. I don't know if you can do anything much about it, but except to
Sumanji,
fight it.
sometimes the documentation is also weak. The
No,
petition.
it is,
Very weak.
I
many,
tell you,
many
I
factors.
tell you, nothing is lacking in our case. It is just the political will.
No, that is just, then there is a specific issue involved. over there.
Something is involved which is not being, clarified. What is there? And a similar judgment has been done many years back by the Supreme Court in a similar case. Even a judgment on the basis of that only we are fighting. Similar case.
Rashmi, are there any more questions there?
No, there are no more questions in the chat box, Ranjana.
Is there anybody who would like to interact?
I would like to, if nobody else is, I don't want to take
Yes, yes,
anybody's.
Maithili, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. For some reason, we find that, such laws, any beneficial law, any law which is meant for benefit of the weaker section, they are somehow, manipulated and never reach the target audience.
You're not audible, Maithili.
Cannot hear.
Can you hear me
Cannot
now?
hear.
Oh, a little louder.
So do I
No,
have to?
I think she can be heard, but the voice is getting muffled.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
you
it?
come closer to the mic.
I am quite close.
This
Is
is
it okay
better.
now? This is better. Okay. See, this law, just like any other law, of course, this is not an excuse for not having the law. Every law is misused, so it's very important that we don't look at the loopholes, but look at the larger picture where the law benefits people. But do you think, when these things become enforceable by courts, do they increase conflicts within the family? Do they do that? I mean, can we have more of sibling rivalry? Can you have more motivated petitions? Can all that happen? And once the thing comes to court, will the relationship be the same between the youngsters and the older people at home? I'm thinking aloud. I don't have an answer for it, but I'm just thinking aloud.
No, that is what.
Your
that
voice
is-
is again gone. Please come forward.
Hey, itna hi ho sakta hai yaar.
I,
Try to understand. I hope
voice.
now, can you hear
It's
me
all
now?
right. Yeah, this is better. Be there. Yeah.
Yeah, what I was thinking is, once such things become enforceable by law, does it also offer a lot of scope for internal conflicts in the family? Is it possible that the parents are motivated by a particular sibling or by a relative or by some other vested interest? It's quite possible. Because, senior citizens are vulnerable. That's one thing. And also, once the matter reaches court, will the relationship be the same again inside the family? Even if the court says, from tomorrow you have to keep your parents with you or provide for them, does the relationship remain the same after that?
May I say something?
Yes, Robin, please go.
Yeah.
ahead.
In fact, it's like a pharmaceutical product, right? If I can place this way so that everyone can understand. You cannot blame, or rather, no one can blame the medicine per se, right? The person who is the victim is also a patient. If we correlate that analogy. So, in fact, who is the best judge of his own illness is the patient first. Doctor cannot help everyone every way because his job is advise and prescribe some medicine or some treatment. But ultimately, it is the patient who has to diligently follow the advice, right? So same patient here is we all, and the diligent advice given by the doctor is the statute law. Statute law is not only dial 100. There's a civil provision. Why don't we all explore that? Hardly any of us know that, and seldom some of us
True.
explore that.
True.
You strengthen the civic society. Beyond 100, we should work.
One point Rashmi ji brought up, which I don't know whether it has a big deterrent. Normally people vacillate with emotional,
Yes.
emotional, what should I say, guilt for the children, for siblings, for parents. So it's a very complicated kind of a situation.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And because of that, even if they want to take action, they cannot take action, yet they suffer.
Yes, a lot of parents, yes.
That is.
I have had 2 cases in our families. Yes, it is. It is true. It is true.
That is exactly what I said, that they come for it. People come for advice. But when advice is given, then they want an assurance that the child will not be battered. Now, you can't have it both ways. You cannot have the cake and eat it too. If you want to complain, yes, there is a provision. But if you are asking me, will they beat the child or will they do? Yeah, of course they will.
No,
They will do
typically-
everything in their power to scare.
No,
the person.
typically it is the blame game. If you look at the senior citizens with some kind of grievance, they will say, my son is good. It's my daughter-in-law who's doing this. So is there a provision whereby you can punish only the daughter-in-law and leave the son? We have come across such instances also. Or say, my daughter is very good, it's my son-in-law who's preventing her from doing. You know, these things are very common when I'm not saying the law.
That is why, Maithili, I was asking Advocate Mojumdar, see, this cognizable offense, the registering of cognizable offense is a very important factor
Yes.
in evidence building. That is something, Advocate Mojumdar, if you kindly sort of explain what is cognizable offense and what people can do with it, because NCs will take a lot of time to build. But a cognizable offense, if people can manage to put the facts together and convince the police and, you know, register a cognizable offense, it makes a lot of difference in creating the warrant later on.
And
But-
what, according to law, is the cognizable offense?
Yeah. In fact, offense is already described and defined in the Indian Penal Code, right? So the moment you go to a police authority or the magistrate, they will say prima facie or on an apparent basis whether
Register
whether
the
there is
complaint.
an act. Yeah. And it is always a gray area. I mean, it all depends on your person's judgment, person's skill, person's background to understand your pain and your agony, whether that agony or pain amounts to an offense or not. So it is a larger issue. But yes, as I said, as a lawyer, I would say, make out the facts. That will be an evidence for you in all days to come. And not simply before always the cognizable. Forget about cognizability. You come back to the SDM level, come back to the DM level. They are under duty to protect you. They are under duty to see your welfare, well-being.
So you
Other-
have to tell them how to get to the DM and how to get to the SDM.
Very easy, very easy, very easy. It's not a deal. The way passionately we follow going to the police station, writing a complaint, instead of doing that, you follow the same process, go back to another office of DM or SDM. You see, there's a change is needed. Process is slow because it is a change, and it will happen.
So what you're saying is, instead of following a criminal process, you follow a civil process.
Why not? Why not? Empower them so that they are basically they're the primary authority to see the general welfare of the citizen. But that is
The
not-
only thing why I said police station was basically middle class and upper middle class families shirk away from police stations. They don't like police stations. So if you are good with cognizable offenses, then people will keep you at bay. They will
Yeah.
not come jumping at you all the time.
yeah.
That is something I've learned the hard way over a period of time. That it is the police which scares. It is the civil law doesn't scare people.
No.
That is the problem.
No, it's not like that. Same piece of paper, you give it to a police station, and the same piece of paper with a different addressee name, give it to the DM. You see, the DM things will be more effective than the police one. You don't need to convince anyone. DM wants only the facts. The police or magistrate wants always the evidence. There's a clear difference.
So where will people find the DM's address and it's online?
It is there. Now everything is online. All
Everything is
state
online.
government functionaries are online only.
Okay.
You advise everyone like that. I think that is needed more than depending upon one singular authority.
But ultimately, we all live in a traditional lifestyle where the petitioner, the offender, all finally have to live under the same roof. Having put a case against the son-in-law or the daughter-in-law as a cognizable offense, and whether there is any kind of follow-up on that, ultimately the elderly people have to live with that people whom they complained against, and the bitterness that is, in the household is terrible. I mean, unless you ask them to quit and leave us in peace, how can warring factions live together peacefully under the same roof?
I mean, you're fighting a case of law and yet you're under the same roof. Two things don't happen together.
See, that's why I was talking about cognizable offense, because Civil law has this problem. Civil law moves at not at the pace at which people recognize it to move. So when you are going to a DM's office or an SDM's office, the fear is not as much as it would be if you are going to a police station for a cognizable offense. And Gomiti ji, cognizable offense does not mean immediate action. It means you're registering a complaint, and as Advocate Majumdar said, you're building evidence. You're building evidence for a case of tomorrow.
Right.
True.
Right.
Like I said, that a patient cannot, cannot choose that, no, I should go for OT first, then going to a medicine expert, right? You have to
Yes.
go first the OPD, then OT. But we are given to understand as a citizen of this country, no, OT comes first. Then you come back to the OPD, right? The dial 100 is OT only. So we need to, yeah, operation theater. That should not be. We ourselves, our mindset should be little change towards the civil side also to strengthen them. That helps us in a longer run.
But Advocate Majumdar, a sound knowledge on these things is also very essential.
Yeah. That is why in this present act itself, let us come back to this same Protection Act. In
Yes.
this Senior Citizens Act, there is a provision to popularize it, to familiarize the citizen with the strength and the weaknesses that the act creates for the people, right? That awareness is there, and I think that is why, like UWA will come to the picture, right?
Exactly.
They need to popularize this door-to-door basis or society. Nowadays, every place we find a societal living. It is much
We are
easy.
doing that. We are starting that project of legal literacy.
Yes,
Exactly.
that is lined up. Yes.
Very good.
Line that up.
Good.
Okay.
I think we are running out of time now. It
Yes,
has been a very lively session, and the questions and will keep on going on, Advocate Ravin. But
Yes,
for
yes.
want of time, I would like to hand over the meeting to Ms. Gomti Venkateshwar for the vote of thanks.
Thanks
Thank you.
everyone. Thanks everyone for giving me opportunity.
Everybody has had their ears full of information, and I thank the president of the Indian Federation of University Women, Dr. Ranjana Banerjee, for having arranged for this series of wonderful webinars we have been having under this umbrella. And as Advocate Majumdar just said, being the organization that we are for empowering women and for educating women, we need to take this matter as I think a kind of a beacon light to spread knowledge and awareness of legal rights to women who are not educated, who live in bastis and who don't know how to go and get their rights upheld. So I thank you, Mr. Majumdar, for having taken your valuable time to come and give us some information. It has been extremely informative, I must say, for all of
Thank you,
us.
ma'am. Thank
We
you
are all become senior citizens, all of us, and we are thinking that we need to protect ourselves also.
Yes, certainly.
We must know our rights so
Yeah.
that we are well armed if any kind of distress happens to us. Thank you, members. I think we have had a good turnout of members.
Thanks to Rashmi also for conducting.
And
Yes,
yes, thank you, Rashmidi, that it has been extremely wonderful that you arranged for this talk by Advocate of the Senior Supreme Court, Mr. Robin Majumdar. I hope we can have you some more times to lead us into these areas of information. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, participants, for attending. We will
Thank
meet
you for having us.
Thank you
Thank
all.
you for inviting us.
Thank you all.
Yeah. Thank
May
you.
the
ma'am.
host
No,
close the meeting.
How legacy.
I have a query whether this recording may be also supplied to me
Yes,
for
sure.
my own purpose.
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. everyone.
Actually, we have a website on that website, all our recordings are uploaded.
Okay,
So I'll send it to you, but you can also go to the website. All our sessions are uploaded.
very well, very well. very well.
And we have a YouTube channel on which all the recordings are uploaded.
All right, ma'am. I seldom I go to YouTube or any other social channel other than Twitter and this WhatsApp.
So I'll send it to
But
you.
will we
and-
send him the recording also?
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
send it to
Right.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Ranjana
you.
Bandhuguri?
Have
Ranjana
on
ji,
the Thank you, everybody.
thank you. Good night.
Good
Good night.
night.